Hello, welcome to Locked on Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. The 2022 draft is in the books. Let's get to know all of the newest San Jose Sharks. All that and more on today's episode of Locked on Sharks.
You're Locked on Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fin and San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you, of course, for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can subscribe on YouTube. The draft is done. The Sharks have made all their picks. They've made a trade. It's been a wild 2 days. It's been a wild week. This is episode number 7 for me this week. So have really been trying to pump out the content for you. But so in today's episode, we're going to kind of look into who these players are, kind of just, look at their scouting reports on their stats. And then as the summer goes on, we'll kind of try to deep dive a little bit more into each prospect. But right now, I just wanted to kind of do a big overview of who you as fans and who are we getting as in players in the Sharks prospect pipeline. But first, let's talk about the Sharks trade. So they traded away a 2023 third rounder and John Leonard for forward Luke Kunin of the Nashville Predators. And like I said in my now, I kind of get the trade, but I kind of don't. The thing that bothers me about the trade is the 2023 third round pick, and especially next year's draft where it's supposed to be super deep, and these guys that you're going to be available in the third rounds are potentially like second round talent in most drafts, and giving that up, which, if the Sharks are bad again, might be a very high third round pick. It's not my favorite thing to do. I mean, I get, I like John Leonard, but I understand, the team had clearly soured on him and his potential. But, Kunin, he draws a lot of he takes a lot of penalties. He doesn't really drive play too much. Here, I'll pull up his fancy stats on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. It's a lot of red. He's basically a replacement level player, and you're going to have to. Evolving Hockey has his projected contract. He's an RFA at 2 years, $2.361 million. And I just feel like, I know it's not a ton of money, but I just feel like that money could have been spent elsewhere. So he's, he plays tenacious, et cetera, and does all that type of stuff that hockey guys like. But that's just a lot of red, and you're spending $2 million, and it's not a good sign when the opposing fan base is just like, oh, great, awesome, thank you for taking this, from us. So yeah, I'm not. RIP John Leonard. We hardly knew ye, but yeah, just not my favorite trade. So I don't think. I mean, we don't know what he's going to get paid. I'm just going off the projections here. If he comes in at well under that, that's fine. But just giving up a 2023 asset for a team that we figure probably isn't going to be too good in what's going to be a really good draft class. And I know people say, hey, you can just recoup that. But you could have just had that pick instead of, trading more stuff to try to recoup it. And even if you trade to recoup a third pick, it's probably not going to be a third round pick. It's not going to be as good as the third round pick you just gave up. So unless you're trading with like Arizona for a third round pick. But anyway, let's get to the prospects. So I'm going to go in order of their draft. So just, I think it's the easiest way to get started. So if you're watching on YouTube, I've made nice fancy graphs with their information, with their stats. And then we have, some fun stuff on here. So Let's start with one Cameron Lund. He was the first pick in the second round at 34, or first pick for the Sharks in the second round at 34 overall. He is 6'2", 192-pound right-handed center, born June 2004. If you're into astrology-based drafting, from Bridgewater, Massachusetts, committed to Northeastern University. So his scouting report. Already armed with an NHL shot, Lund's a threat from distance in the USHL, but instead of settling for low percentage shots, he's always looking for inside lane opportunities. Without the puck, he flips same side support, ready for quick passes and sneaky far post positioning for one-timers. With it, he baits defenders into chasing him wide, then cuts inside and shoots in one smooth motion. Lund's improved playmaking appeared across the ice by season's end. Even inefficiency lingers. Quick plays through the defenders navigate pressure and create scoring chances. Where he previously rushed on the boards, he started to slow down to manipulate the nearby defender, then passing to the trailer. He flashes a quick possession passing game that emphasizes his off-puck instincts. And then kind of what he needs to work on. To make the NHL, Lund's skating and decision-making with the puck must continue to improve. High crossover integration overcomes some speed deficiencies in the USHL, but his lack of lower body flexion could hinder his puck protection and agility moving forward. Do these, and Lund could become a third line forward who couples system hockey with flashy solo efforts. So basically, he needs to improve on his skating, but he already has an NHL caliber shot, which is kind of nice to hear already. So Byron Bader's hockey prospecting model only puts him at a 24% chance of making the NHL with a 7% star probability. So again, NHLer for him is 200 games. That's when you kind of graduate from not being a prospect and becoming an actual full-time NHLer. And a star for forward position puts up at 7%. Some of his comps, Chandler Stevenson, Bruce Gardner, Frederick Gaudreau, Mike Fisher, and Wyatt Smith. So not all of these, just to let you guys know, have comps from Byron Bader. But I'll kind of continually check back. So if he updates them, we will go back and look at those guys whenever we get a chance. But before we continue on talking about some of these guys, let's go ahead and take a quick break and talk to you guys about our friends over at BetOnline. You guys know BetOnline is the number one source for your betting news and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, including league reviews and news. And you've got Major League Baseball. You got football starts next month. Of course, they're going to be hockey and basketball futures as well. So go to BetOnline. They remain the best spot for your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. Head to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, back to the prospects. So next, Sharks picked defenseman Mattias Hävelid. He also played with Sharks first round pick Bysted, so it was kind of cool. He is a January 1st, 2004 for the U.S. astrology-based drafters. Right-handed defenseman, 5'10", 172 pounds. Like I said, he's from Tabai. Anyway, he's from Sweden. Also plays with Linkopings, and he's under contract with them through the 24-25 season. So I assume we will not be seeing him for a little while. Cam Robinson and Elite Prospects had him as the 5th best transition defenseman in the draft, which is nice to see. And then for his kind of scouting report, it wasn't just by force of his release, though. Hävelid showcased many projectable elements in the way that he can set up each shooting opportunity, whether it was creating shooting lanes with deception and four-way mobility or improving the chances of each shot by attacking down into open space. Hävelid consistently displayed the ability to find the best option on the breakout rather than settling for the first one available to him, and never had any issues getting that player the puck. The hope on our part is that the passing skill will become more of a feature of his in-zone offensive profile as he works his way up in the NHL. For those within the NHL, the main concern with Hävelid is his skating stride. You know, you can be small, but you can't, and you can be a poor skater, but you can't be both to be playing the NHL. It's not a weakness of his by any stretch of the imagination. So it's just something he needs to work on. There's also the defensive side of his game to consider, and Hävelid is probably about an average player in that. He empties the tank on every shift, isn't afraid to play the body, even against men as a 18-year-old, but the reads aren't there as well as always. So he's a player who gives a lot of effort in the defensive zone. And I think once he gets a little bit bigger and continues to kind of improve, he will kind of improve those areas. So it is 29 games last year on the J20 team. He had 10 goals, 9 assists for 0.66 points per game. He also played in the SHL, which is good to see. Like if you're playing as a 17, 18-year-old in the men's league, he didn't really put up any stats there, but that's fine. That's just getting quality minutes or getting good ice time there. That's good to see. So 40% chance of becoming an NHLer, 4% star probability from Byron Bader. Some of his comps, Nesterov, Slavin, Boychuk, Derek Forbert, and Emir Heiskanen, which is probably a bit of a stretch there. So we'll see. That would be great. All right, next, Michael Fisher. He's pretty exciting once we get to the actual his scouting reports. 6'2" defenseman, 198 pounds, from Westboro, Massachusetts, born in May 2004, right-handed defenseman. He played in the St. Mark's High School, 13 goals, 37 assists, 50 points, and then he is committed to Northeastern University next year. And then his scouting reports. Woo! Daniel Guy had him as the 5th hardest hitter in the draft, defenseman in the draft, the 3rd best transition defenseman in the draft, and the 3rd best offensive D-man in the draft. And then also from Elite Prospects. Simply put, Fisher may very well be the most dominant high school player we've scouted in 3 years of draft guide work at Elite Prospects. Certainly he's the most dynamic and offensively gifted one to cross our paths in his time, no doubt about that. Even Fisher's most seemingly mundane puck touches often develop into scoring chances. In no phase of the game was it more apparent than the breakout. He would go deep into his zone for retrieval, and in the blink of an eye, turn that play into a highlight reel goal at the opposite end of the ice. The most projectable offensive element in Fisher's toolkit is probably his shot. Our scouts regularly caught the Northeastern commit taking as many as 10-plus attempts in the game, most of them high-quality variant. Woo! The two most pressing concerns for myself with Fisher's game aren't really concerns in the traditional sense so much as question marks. Specifically, we don't have much proof of concept to lean on in determining his quality as a playmaker and as a defender. Fisher didn't use his line mates often because it was so self-evidently better with a puck than them, and his team rarely, if ever, had to defend when he was on the ice. Wow! This offense, that just sounds amazing. So it sounds very much a boy among men type of situation. He did not have a card, though, from Byron Bader. I'm assuming once he gets playing, we'll probably see that. But just sign me up for that. That sounds fun. Sharks also, in their next pick, they go goalie here. So goalies are a little bit tougher. You have to kind of ignore the numbers a little bit. So his numbers weren't super impressive for Mason Beaupit. 6'5", 185 goalie, September 2003. Born from Surrey, BC, plays for the Spokane Chiefs. And like I said, his numbers are not the most impressive this year. He played 49 games, which is a lot of games, where he had 363 goals against average and a 893 save percentage with 1 shutout. And then he got absolutely shelled in the playoffs. But I think the Spokane Chiefs were not very good. And basically, if it wasn't for his play, they probably wouldn't have made the playoffs. So they're a very young team. But some of his from Draft Pros, he's a tall, thinly built, hybrid puck stopper, great natural net coverage, shows some decent athleticism. He moves well laterally, although lacking some power on his pushes. He uses his size very well and extremely difficult to beat from beyond the hash marks with the net, as he's able to cover along with a pretty quick and flashy glove hand. His blocker is also solid. He absorbs mid-range and high shots with ease, gobbling up pucks in his breadbasket. Although when the puck comes in tight and low, that is when problems arise. He can get a little scrambly. His tracking in tight is a big red flag. He's often searching for pucks and will stop following the play, leaving his strides and 5-hole open. He also has a tough time corralling rebounds down low and a tougher time reacting to shows on his feet. He's not the quickest, although you can see the raw reflexes, but he simply often lags behind. Much of his problem is due to ongoing growth and conditioning. His enormous frame is still needing of adding much muscle. Plenty to improve on, but has raw potential to develop into an NHL goaltender after a few years. So, again, I think, put on some size. He's got the frame. I think he needs to continue to work on that. So his Byron Bader's model really likes him. So he has a 61% chance of being an NHL. Listen to these comps. Kerry Lettinen, Martin Jones. Okay, Martin Jones was good before he just turned into dust because he's overworked. Frederik Andersen, Andrei Vasilevsky, and Jake Ottinger. If we get Jake Ottinger or Andrei Vasilevsky, sign me up. That is so, and you never know with goalies. There's such a hodgepodge and stuff like with them, with their development, stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it's kind of like a quarterback in the NFL. You just keep drafting them until you find one, and adding Mason Beaupit to your goalie pipeline. I'm absolutely for it. So, I think hopefully his team will kind of improve a little bit this year. His numbers should hopefully improve as well. So, we'll do one more and then we'll take a quick break. So let's do Jake Furlong. So Jake, he was the 5th round pick at 140 overall. Another defenseman, is continuing theme for the Sharks. He plays for the Halifax Mooseheads out of the Q. If that team sounds familiar, that's for one Timo Meier dominated. So 6'1" defenseman, 190 pounds, left-handed. One of the Sharks did not add too many. They added a lot of defensemen, but I think he was like the only left-handed defenseman, if my notes are correct. Solid season in the Q. So you have to kind of be a little weary about the numbers because out of the Q, the OHL, and the WHL, the Q is kind of the most wide open, I would say. Probably the least competitive of the three, but anyway, so he had 4 goals, 38 assists, 42 points in 67 games. That puts him at a 0.63 points per game during his season. And in the playoffs, he had another 4 assists in 5 games as well. His scouting report puts him all the basic components of that an NHL team looks for in a defenseman are there with Jake Furlong. The mobility and handling skills to break out pucks, the physical ability to play as an effective defender at the next level. He's active, willing to join plays, and empties the tank on most shifts. The defenseman has a relatively solid foundation of a technical ability and habits that could lead in time to a professional role on a blue line. The issue with Furlong's game is one of upside. While he's an all-around effective defenseman and offensive players, there's a lack of creativity and anticipation in his game. He's a read and react player who often limits himself to making a simple play in most sequences and lacks a special quality that could make him stand out in comparison to other defensive prospects in an NHL system. So it sounds like he's going to make the simple play. It sounds like he's a coach's dream where he's just going to always make the right play. It's not going to be this special thing, but that's my guess with him. So 47 for Byron Bader, 47% NHL, probably 6% star possibility. Comps: John Merrill, Jonathan Bloom, Richard Matvichuk, Jason Smith, Justin Falk. So, all right, before we continue, just want to thank you guys, of course, for making us your first listen. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, when you're done listening to this one, go check out the Locked On NHL podcast. They have reactions from the entire first round. They put that all together. Myself included is in there as well. But Gil and Brandon, those guys worked throughout the first night of the draft. So go check out that. You have full reactions from every pick in the first round. It's really well done. So, all right, let's get to the final few guys here. Joey Muldowney. Switching tabs here. He is a 5'11" right-handed right winger weighs 154 pounds from Lakeview, New York. June 2004. So if you're again astrology-based drafting, he played in the high school where he had 56 games. He had 57 goals, 40 assists, 97 total points. That puts him at a very nice 1.73 points per game. He also got a couple games with the Des Moines Buccaneers in the USHL. 3 games there. He had a goal and an assist for 2 points. He is expected to go back to the USHL next year, and then in the 2023-2024 season, he'll be playing at the University of Connecticut. So his scouting profile, Muldowney plays with a lot of speed and competitive. His skating speed and agility allow him to be an effective in the transition game, where he shows good vision and playmaking ability with speed. Where Muldowney really needs time is his strength development, where he lacks the ability to win many one-on-one situations. This was more noticeable in these games at the USHL level. His puck skills and quick hands were able to win a lot of pucks for him at the preps level, but he needs to get stronger on the puck before he can be effective at the upper levels. Muldowney has a good goal-scoring instinct. He gets the puck off his tape quickly in shooting situations and gets himself in the right areas of the ice consistently to get his share of scoring chances. Muldowney also shows a good nose for the net and good scoring touch in the crease area and in traffic. He's 154 pounds and 5'11". Yes, he needs to get into the gym. So no scouting card for him, unfortunately, from Byron Bader. Next guy, Eli Barnett. He's a big boy. 6'6", 220-pound right-handed defenseman from Riverview, Canada. September 2003, so he's kind of a bit older, was the 195th pick in the 7th round by the Sharks. Last season, he played with the Victoria Grizzlies in the BCHL, where he had 3 goals, 10 assists, 13 points in 53 games, and then for 0.25 points per game. Then also added an assist in 3 playoff games as well. He is committed to the University of Vermont for next season, so he'll be going to college. There's a lot of college players for the Sharks, especially Mike Greer, college guy himself. No scouting reports on him, unfortunately. I searched high and low. The only thing I could see was he said of himself, he's a stay-at-home defenseman who can add some offense. But Byron Bader did have a card for him. 16% chance of making the NHL, 2% star probability. Robin Rager, Milan Jertsina, Jason York, Sandis Ozelinski, and David Kochi are his comps. So, and then finally, the Sharks draft. Reese Laubach might sound familiar. He, a November 2003 born center, 6 foot, 168 pounds from some place called San Jose, California. Local kids get drafted by the Sharks. You love to see it. The 217th overall pick in the draft. He played in his North Star Christian Academy. 57 games, 51 goals, 51 assists, 102 points for a nice 1.78 points per game. It's pretty ridiculous. He also got a couple games in with the Youngstown Phantoms in the USHL, where he wrong page. Played 2 games, didn't do anything there. He's expected to play this year with Youngstown as well. Before the 23-24 season, he'll go to Minnesota State University. So go play some hockey up in Minnesota. His scouting report says Laubach has average size and just under 6 foot tall, but still has ways to go to get stronger and fill out his slight frame. He's a good skater with good explosiveness off the hop. His edges allow him to navigate well in traffic and can be an offensive threat when set up in the offensive zone. But we didn't notice him creating much off the rush or driving the offense in transition game, where his speed could be a huge asset. Needs to play with a more active stick away from the puck to be more effective defensively. Sticks off the ice too much and doesn't take away lanes that could. So, and that's it. So, of course, I talked about Bicep yesterday. So if you missed that, go check that out. That episode is live. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed 7 episodes this week for me. We'll be back on Monday. Start getting ready for free agency. Look at some, questions the Sharks still have to answer as they head into free agency and what players could be there. So we'll got you guys covered for that. And then as we get out of free agency, we'll kind of go back. Probably have Scouch on, to come talk about the draft and all that fun stuff. So make sure you guys are following along on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Locked On Sharks. Of course, you can listen wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey. If you're on Apple, 5-star review, much appreciated. Subscribe on YouTube. Almost at 1,100 subscribers already, which is amazing. So, you guys go check out there, especially these ones where we have nice little graphics. You can kind of see, about the players and kind of put a nice name to the face as well. And again, go check out Locked On NHL. Like I said, we've been doing great draft work over there. If you want to kind of get a nice roundup of reaction to all the picks that happened in the first round, they've got that all ready for you guys to go there. And yeah, be back on Monday. Bye, friends.